we'll make a start. I'm Melissa, I'm from Manchester Met's degree apprenticeship team. I lead on outreach for the apprenticeship team, so basically anything for sixth formers, for college students, for high school students even, anything I talk about today is going to be directly relevant for you guys. So we'll go through how degree apprenticeships work, we'll talk about the courses that Manchester Met has on offer, as well as just the courses in general that you can do during apprenticeships. We'll also have a look at how you can apply and a little bit of info on how you can start preparing over summer. So especially if you're in year 12, definitely write some notes if it would be helpful and take photos of whatever you need on the screen to remember. So just to start us off, we'll have a look at the different levels of apprenticeships. So I imagine most people in this room are currently in sixth form or in college. So on this level 3 level that we've got on the screen, when you're at level 3, you're doing things like your BTECs, A-levels, some of you might be on level 3 apprenticeships. When you go to university and do a degree apprenticeship, you're on that top level, on level 6. So the reason we sort of show you this to start with is just to show degree apprenticeships are equivalent qualifications to traditional degrees. You get the exact same qualification out of them, bachelor's degree. They're worth the same in terms of prestige, in terms of the qualification allowing you to get into jobs, into careers. So the reason we sort of start with this is to combat the idea that degree apprenticeships or apprenticeships are like the lesser qualification. They're very valuable, they're quite competitive, more competitive than university traditionally, I would say. So they're really worthwhile qualifications to consider when you finish sixth form, when you finish college. Because of that, they are generally university entry requirements because it's a university course. So just things to bear in mind when you're considering these for after your level 3 qualifications. So the way they work, they're a mixture of full-time employment and a full honours degree. The employment part of your apprenticeship will take 80% of your time, and then the education part will take 20% of the time. So that's roughly 4 days a week in work and 1 day a week at university, but it will depend on employer. So some of our employers will do 3 weeks in work, then 3 days in university. But roughly 80% of your time will be in work. And that other 20% is things like your class time in university, it's things like independent study, working on your assignments. So it's a mixture of all those things that a general university student would do as well. So the full-time employment, it is very much a full-time job as a degree apprenticeship. It's not kind of, again, a part-time job with not much responsibility. Our apprentices at Manchester Met are challenged quite a lot. They're given opportunities to work on independent projects. They're given chances within their organisations for promotions, to take part in different projects happening. And a lot of them get the chance to cycle around departments within their companies and get a sense of what kind of career after their apprenticeship are they most focused on getting into. So it's a really great opportunity if you want to go straight into work, if you're ready for that after sixth form or college, and you want to be in a job where you've got the opportunity to progress, essentially. And then you've got your full honours teaching. So that takes place on Manchester Met's campus for most courses. Now and again, there might be a bit of distance learning, but generally that is here in the business school. And for some of our courses around digital arts, you might be in the School of Digital Arts building as well. That is, as I mentioned, your full degree. It's just spread over a slightly longer time of 4 years rather than traditional 3 years, just to make sure that you're balancing that alongside work and study. So they're typically 4-year programs at degree apprenticeship level. If you go on our website, you might find some that say they're 2 years, 1-year programs. They are generally for people with work experience, or they're for people that have perhaps gone back to education later in life, so can back it up with previous credentials. So for you, if you're in sixth form or college, or maybe high school, thinking of this a bit later on, you're looking at the 4-year programs for degree apprenticeships. The entry requirements that Manchester Met asks for are 104 to 112 UCAS points. So that is A level, 2 Bs and a C is the 112, B and 2 Cs for 104. And if you're doing BTECs, it's 3 merits as a minimum, distinction and 2 merits for 112. Now and again, people are doing a mixture, 1 A level, 2 BTECs. You're probably looking at things like distinction and Bs, or Bs and a merit. It's worth checking the UCAS points calculator, putting in your qualifications and seeing what you need to add up to 104. We also ask for GCSE English and Maths at grade 4. If you don't have those, sometimes we'll do functional skills for new apprentices, but again, that tends to be more for people returning later in life to education. What you can see on the screen is the courses that you can do at degree apprenticeship level. So not necessarily what Manchester Met offers. We do some of these, but this is what's out there in general, and is sort of the government's official list of what apprenticeships you can do. For things like policing, it's worth noting that you do need a degree to enter the police force now. So if any of you are doing things like public services, criminology, thinking about policing, you do need a degree either way, so apprenticeships might be a good option. Got things like paralegal and solicitor. Law apprenticeships are quite rare, but it is more likely for paralegal and solicitor. And then the bottom line of those are what Manchester Met focuses on. So we've got a lot of expertise in the digital industries. We have laboratory sciences and things like management as well. And I'll talk about our full course list slightly later on. So these are some of the main benefits of degree apprenticeships. I'm sure some of you have heard of these, might be what's drawn you towards finding out about them. The first one is that there are no tuition fees for degree apprenticeships. So this is funded by your employer through the government's apprenticeship levy. So you don't have to take out a student loan and you don't have to pay any fees upfront for your degree apprenticeship. The second one is that you get paid a salary. So with Manchester Met, that's at least £14,000 a year. Some of our employers will pay higher than that, starting on 16,000, 17,000. And some have this year hired salaries such as 22,000, 23,000 as starting salaries. So there is a range of different ones, but the absolute minimum is going to be £14,000 a year. Because of that, you also don't take out the maintenance loan through student finance. So again, no student debt on either tuition fees or maintenance loan in that respect. The main one that we say that you should be drawing you to degree apprenticeships is the chance to get that significant employment experience. So as I mentioned, it's a 4-year program. You spend 4 years in that job, in that company. So you've got to be sure that you want to be in that industry. You're ready for 4 years of work. And basically, you've got to be able to express that you want that employment experience. So the things our employers are looking for are that you have motivations to be in that job, that you have the skills for it. So this middle one is kind of the most important one for you to be able to talk about to people. The fourth one we've got then is it contextualizes your learning. So that's things like learning practically, things you learn in the job are useful for your coursework, and then hopefully things you're learning in your course as well can be directly applied into the job. So it's a good chance if you like seeing what you're learning being put into practice in the real world. And then there are opportunities for fast career progression with the apprenticeships. So a lot of our apprentices do get promotions or pay rises during their apprenticeships. So it's not a case of you necessarily leave on the same salary that you entered on. And just in terms of development and skills as well, you're embedded within that company for 4 years, so you get a lot of chance to develop your skills and gain new experiences as well. In terms of how they work on a bit more of a practical level, you spend about 30 days a year at university. Might not sound like a lot, but a university's teaching year tends to be 30 weeks, so 1 day a week. It's kind of how it works out. For some subjects it's less, and those are done in full days teaching usually. So something like 9 till 4, 10 till 4 might be your hours for that teaching day. So it is a lot more block teaching rather than a traditional student might have sort of scattered hours, 9 till 10 lecture, 2 till 3 lecture, have a lot more free time in their day. An apprentice's time is more structured and is more formal in that sense. It's also taught through a combination of assignments, work-based projects. So there's not really exams on degree apprenticeships. It's more of your project work, your coursework that you're assessed on. And then a lot of our employees have worked with us for quite a while now, so they understand studying and working at the same time can be quite intense. So they might allocate some study time during the week for you, especially as you're approaching deadlines, to just get on with some coursework if you've got an hour free. So in terms of the support that our apprentices get at Manchester Met, you've got quite a good bubble of support around you. So the first one is your fellow apprentices. It's one our apprentices definitely talk about a lot. So having people on your course, having people in your company that are doing the same kind of structured degree as you, so you can work together to meet deadlines. You've got that support network around you through other apprentices. Especially in companies we've worked with for a while, there might be fourth year apprentices. You can ask them for support when you're in your first year on how they've found the programme with assignments, deadlines, all those kind of things. You've also got lecturers and programme leaders. So at the university, we're obviously a very large university, a lot of academic expertise. And as an apprentice, your courses are taught by lecturers, by programme leaders. And if you went to one of our open days at the university, spoke to academics and things like our digital subject, you might find they teach on our apprenticeships too. So a lot of them teach across both programmes and are there for support with your course if you need any. As an apprentice, you'll also be a full member of the Students' Union. So that's the body at the university that represents students. It runs the clubs, it runs societies, and it also runs events and has support that apprentices can access and other students. So you'll be a full member of that. We tend to point out the only thing to consider with the Students' Union is, as an apprentice, your full-time job comes first. So if there's sports fixtures, sports training that you want to take part in as a student, it might clash with your working hours. So if you're interested in that university level sport, it's worth considering what kind of lifestyle you want after sixth form or college. And then you also have someone at the university called a skills coach. This is someone that monitors your progress, supports you with any extra help you need with assignments, but is also there as sort of a first port of call at the university. Like you might have a progress tutor in college, a form tutor, and they are there as well. If you need signposting to disability support, mental health and counselling, it's sort of your first stop at the university to ask. They'll do formal reviews about 4 times a year, but also they're at the end of an email if you do need help in between those formal meetings. You'll also have a workplace mentor. So that's someone like a line manager, maybe someone senior in the company that helps mentor you. And similar kind of role to a skills coach in having that person you can contact in your workplace. And then we have transport support on there. This is just worth checking out if you're in Greater Manchester. Transport for Greater Manchester sometimes offers support for apprentices. In the past, it's been things like free cycle to work schemes. So worth keeping an eye on. They kind of change it every year depending on what funding they have. So these are the courses we offer at Manchester Met. As I said, if you don't see one you like on here, there's lots of companies outside, so I definitely recommend going chatting to them about what apprenticeships they might have. So you've got Chartered Manager, where you get your degree as a business management professional. We've got our new one, Creative Digital Design, which starts this September. And then we've got things like Digital Tech, which is things like software engineering, cybersecurity, data analyst. And then we also have digital marketing, digital UX. And the bottom two, we've now got a new pathway in our lab science program, which is very popular. So that will be bioscience, and that's starting this September too. So for those of you doing biology, doing chemistry, the bottom two might really interest you. And things like psychology fit nicely into UX, graphics, and for the others, obviously, your digital kind of qualifications. So these are the kind of career paths we'd see students taking if they took any of these apprenticeships. So management, obviously hopefully you go into management in the future. And then for our new one, like creative design, we're seeing people to go on creative directors, hopefully, studio managers. So hopefully opens up a lot of different paths for you to take after the apprenticeship as well. In terms of employers that we work with over 500 employers at Manchester Met. So this is by no means a full list that we've got on the screen, but this is some of our, I'd say, our biggest ones for sixth form leavers especially. And I'd also say don't assume off the title of the company which apprenticeships they offer. So somewhere like AstraZeneca works with us on lab science, on chemistry, big scientific research company, but also works with us on digital tech for the things like cybersecurity, software engineering. So these companies might hire across a few subject areas or might do ones you're not quite expecting. So definitely worth still considering them. Even if you've never thought of working at somewhere like a council, you might find they're offering a marketing apprenticeship which suits exactly what you want to do. So these are some of the sites I'd recommend searching for vacancies on. The Apprenticeship Guide and Amazing Apprenticeships are great for signposting to either vacancies, to universities. Things like Unifrog is something which your sixth form or college would pay for. So if you've got that through college, definitely make the most of it. You can search for university courses, apprenticeships, different options. And then the others are kind of either job search websites or, again, signposting websites to different universities. You've also got the government's apprenticeship website, really good resource where you can filter by level. So if it's degree, put in level 6. You can do postcode, you can kind of type subject area, and they should host all live vacancies. So if you check that website quite regularly, it should list what you're interested in at some point. We also obviously have Manchester Met's apprenticeship website. If you go on our website, you'll find a page that says go to student pages, and then you can look at our vacancies. So they are links through to the companies where you'd apply directly, but you can have a look at what's on there at the moment. Even if you're on year 12, you might as well have a look, see what's out there. It might be the same kind of things next year. So this is what the application process looks like. It's not necessarily always going to be all 5 of these. It might be step 1, you might apply for a CV, and then they might invite you straight to interview. This is just what could come up as part of the application process. So step 1 is things like a CV or online application. If you don't have a CV already, I definitely suggest making a start on that over summer. Good chance while you've got careers advisors in college to have a look over it. So a CV can be a good starting point to think, what skills do I have? What experience do I have? Is there anything else I need to get for an apprenticeship to be able to succeed? Step 2 then, you might have a telephone interview. Usually 5-10 minutes, they'll ask you a few questions. Why have you applied? Used to filter through if a company has a lot of applications, for example. And then step 3, you might have a test or an in-tray exercise. They're not widely used, but some companies will use them. If you've ever applied to something like Aldi, you might have come across their personality tests they do. Sometimes it's tests like that. For something in data science, it might be numerical based, or it might be situation based. So if you're in this situation, what would your response be? So they might come up, it's worth keeping an eye. And if you want to have a go at some, if you Google psychometric tests, you'll find those kind of tests to have a go at. And then some of our employers will do assessment centres. Those are either half-day, full-day sessions held at their offices, sometimes on campus here. And during those days, they'll assess you across a range of different things to see if you would be the right employee for them. So it might be things like group tasks. You might have to do a presentation, and you might have an interview as part of that day. And during those days, they're looking to see how you interact with people, if you've got the right skills they're looking for. And it kind of really is you being observed all day. So unless there's a formal break, it's things like not scrolling your phone, making sure you're interacting with people, and prepping anything they ask. So if they ask for a presentation, make sure you've read the instructions and you've got that presentation ready for the day. And then final stage could be an interview. Some employers are stuck with online, some could be in person. Either way, we'd say do your prep, make sure you've researched what they're actually wanting from you as a candidate, and dress formally, even if it is a video call, just to give the best impression you can. So if it is Manchester Met that you're interested in applying for, I'd say first stage, register for our vacancy alerts. So if you go on the website on the screen, find the vacancies page, you can register for alerts, and then when we have new vacancies, you'll get a notification so that you can hopefully apply for some vacancies and not miss deadlines. I'd say the peak time for you guys, if you're in year 12, will be next March to June. Definitely starting to look in January, February for vacancies. So visit our website, visit employer websites, and remember this is separate from UCAS, so you can still apply to UCAS, get university offers. If you get an apprenticeship, you can then turn that down afterwards. Step 3, apply using the application process I just mentioned. And then hopefully you get a job. You'll then sign a contract with the employer, and after that is where the university comes in. So the apprenticeship will always say which university it's linked with, and in our case, when you've got a job offer with your employer, we then enrol you on the programme. So it's not another separate university application, it kind of comes as a package once you've got the job. And then step 6, you'll begin. So our apprentices usually start with induction weeks, and then you'll meet other apprentices, meet lecturers, get an intro to the university before going on to your course. So before we break for any questions, just to let you know of events coming up, I've got some cards down at the front if you want one afterwards. We run open evenings where you can meet more employers for our courses, and then through our outreach we do things for like CV skills workshops for sixth formers and college students, and we do mock assessment centres as well. So if you want any extra application support, feel free to grab one of those cards as you go out for the events. But does anyone have questions I can answer at the end of this presentation? No? Oh, good. Cool. Well, if you have questions afterwards, we've obviously got our Manchester Met stand, or you can come down and ask me now at the front. Thanks, everyone.